Let's talk about some of the backup technology today. And cloud storage is very quickly becoming the backup storage method of choice for many, many companies for a lot of good reasons. For one thing, one problem with backup has always been keeping it off site. If you have an earthquake or a flood or something like that, you want your backup to be off site. A fire, for example, could destroy all of your backup. So when I came up through industry, every night you would have to take suitcases of your backup drives to another site and have it stored elsewhere. But now with cloud storage, you can just upload all of your backups to another company. You only pay for what you need, so you don't have to have extra drives or extra tapes or equipment, and so it's cost effective. It's getting fairly fast. For home use, things like Dropbox and OneDrive, Google Drive, and so on are fairly good for personal use. For many people, they are big enough for what they need, and even if you need more than the free amounts, they're not that expensive. So, cloud is quickly becoming the backup of choice. However, there are still companies that use tape storage and still either send their data across the internet or through some remote means to tape drives, or move those tape drives offsite on their own. And there are several tape technologies that have been used through the years. Tapes, many people are surprised that tape is still the method used for backup because it seems like tape is an old technology. Tape is very slow to write to because it is sequential. That is to say, if I need a piece of data, I have to go sequentially all the way through the tape in order to find the information that I need. However, if you have a crash or something, first of all, they don't happen that often, and second, there are actually some technologies that help us find it faster, and we'll see those in just a little while. So they are still very, very, very popular for long-term storage. One nice thing about tapes is that they have a very, very long storage period, up to 30 years in some cases, whereas optical drives, for example, are only rated for about a year. So tapes are very excellent for long-term storage. Disk drives are not very reliable for more than a couple of years. So let's take a look at some of the history and some of the types of tape drives. First is the digital audio tape. These are designed for audio use. By the way, this came out many years ago by, I believe it was Sony that developed the digital audio tape, but it was quickly adapted for data storage. And as you can see here, they didn't really hold a lot, right? 4 gigabytes compressed for the DDS1, DDS5, 36 gigabytes or 72 gigabytes compressed. Really, you don't see these very often anymore because we use far more data than this today, and it would take many, many cartridges of digital audio tape in order to reach the levels of data that we tend to store today. So you really don't see these DAT drives very often. Next came the DLT and Super DLT, so digital linear tape and super digital linear tape. These were developed, I believe, by DEC, Digital Equipment Company, or DEC as it was often called. DEC was a supercomputer company that I believe was Seattle based and is no longer in existence, although this technology was purchased from them before they went under. And the nice thing about this technology was the fact that it used a laser technology to more accurately write the information, and these things had archival life up to 30 years, which was really nice. Because of this laser technology, it had a high level of automation. So the DLT was not bad, but again, we don't really see DLT and SDLT used very much anymore. Next came the AIT and SAIT, or the Advanced Intelligent Tape and Super Advanced Intelligent Tape. Again, a Sony technology. And this one, now we're getting up into the terabyte levels, and again 30 years of life, archival life on these things. One nice thing about the AIT systems is that they store information at the beginning, sort of an index of information at the beginning of the tape that allows it to fast forward and find information very quickly on the tape, so that you don't have to sequentially move all the way through the tape in order to find the information at slow speeds. So this was very popular for a long time. However, once again, it has been replaced by newer technology. So the newer technology is the LTO. And this now is probably the most current tape drive storage system that we have, and the one that, if you were to go out and look for a tape system to buy today, the one that you would probably find. The linear tape open, and it is open because it is open source. That is to say, this does not belong to any one company, although I believe IBM was involved in its manufacture, or in its development. And this says LTO 8 is the newest LTO standard. I believe actually LTO 9 is now the newest LTO standard. The readers for these things, the reader-writer unit for these things, runs typically, you can go from $3,000 to $5,000 or $6,000 for a typical unit for reading and writing, and then the cartridges that go in them would be most typically $200 or $300 for a cartridge, but that cartridge is going to hold maybe 30 or so terabytes of information compressed, and again, it says here 30 terabytes compressed capacity. Again, the archive time on these things is expected to be many, many years. I don't know if they are rated at 30 years or not. I suspect that it is near that, but I have never seen numbers on how many years of archive expectation you would expect out of these things. However, notice that they are fairly fast for tape drives, 900 megabytes per second, which for tape is a fairly fast system. So this is really the current one that you would find if you were going to go search for a tape drive today. And if you have $4,000 or $5,000 laying around for a backup tape drive, this is what you would probably go out and buy.